Although Canada has one of the world's reserve currencies, it has domestic price control problems that won't allow domestic prices to retreat. Canada was known for its high cost of living before 2015, when Canadian voters voted for their far-left socialist prime minister. Since 2015, Justin Trudeau and the people who continue to support his regime have made it their mission to make energy prices more expensive. Socialists in the developed world are known to create enemies to destroy, so the supporters of the Trudeau regime have decided to imagine a government that will raise the cost of fossil fuels until their version of the perfect green energy economy is realized. Phasing out energy suppliers that the Trudeau government doesn't like is the equivalent of creating shortages, which is what price controls are known to do. From an economic perspective, the domestic value of the Canadian dollar is headed for debasement unless austerity, like what we're observing in Argentina, comes to Canada. However, unlike Argentina, which destroyed its currency a long time ago, the international value of the Canadian dollar appears to be holding steady. Canada's private banking sector is still one of the best in the world. Canada's central bank, in an effort to save the Canadian dollar from collapsing in the forex markets, aggressively raised interest rates. The Trudeau regime of 2024 has not reversed policy on fiscal spending, which to date continues to produce larger deficits without a clear vision of how debts will be repaid. Swiss interest rates remain below 2%, and Japan's interest rates, under this ledger money system, still remain in the negative. So Canada's interest rate hikes are clearly the result of something their federal government is doing wrong. In this new era of finance, ledger money and property rights is the name of the game, which means that Trudeau's energy policies will ultimately only hurt Canada's poor and middle class. I took you on that money journey to remind you that the point of price controls is to prevent price deflation. In generations past, everyone knew that taxation was a form of theft. But in this modern era, many have accepted taxation as a necessity. Taxes are price controls, carbon taxes are price controls. Under this type of system, economies revolve around fiscal policies. The fiscal policies of Canada's current federal government point to the elevated housing market prices as the true value of the Canadian dollar. If you're expecting a housing price crash, don't be surprised when the crash makes your Canadian dollars buy fewer goods and services in Canada. People forget Weimar Germany had a housing market crash, but prices for homes didn't crash downward during that era. They actually became more expensive. The Canadian economy has become heavily reliant on the housing market and Canada's wealthiest federal Crown Corporation. The Canada Mortgage and Housing Corporation would have serious funding problems if housing prices dropped. Investors were drawn to CMHC's mortgage-backed securities because they imagined Canadian taxpayers would be on the hook if the housing market ever crashed. So, unless we see austerity measures coming to Canada, housing prices will likely either rise or remain stagnant, as there are too many price controls in place to make prices retreat in Canada's price-controlled marketplace. On this channel, we discuss price controls in all their forms. Our goal is to get you thinking more clearly so people in authoritative positions can no longer manipulate you. Please like, share, subscribe, and comment.